What am I doing here? Well, good question. The good news about all this rain is I probably won't have to haul as much water right off the bat. I'm on the edge of a canyon system that may contain the most dense concentration of ancestral Puebloan sites in all the Southwest. Now, some of them are pretty iconic. They're popular. You might recognize some of them. If you know where I'm at, please don't say. If you do say, those comments might suspiciously disappear. But here we go. So I'm gonna drop in about right there and then head down canyon, cover about 8 miles today. Made it to the bottom of the wash, which isn't an ideal place to be. I think I'm safe, but never know. You could see clearly that this trail was cut into the rock, and this is an old cattle trail. I can't imagine running cows through here, horses through here. I wonder how many horses and cows fell trying to come down this. Alright, so this might be a good time to let you know the other reason why I'm in here. It's not just for the ruins. I want to see this petroglyph. It might be a pictograph. I haven't seen pictures of it. So if we could find that petroglyph, I'll tell you what's attached to it, because that's where the real story is. So the tree's starting to bloom and it's just shattered. This thing exploded. It had to have been lightning. Oh. No way. All of these rocks here fell. Now imagine the sound that this thing made. It's about the size of a house. There's the impact mark. Maybe 6-7 feet deep. Wow, I can't believe that. Oh, this is a massive rock fall. Look at all these trees. They got smoked. Whoa, that's an impact crater from this rock here. Check out this tree. Thing's maybe 3 feet across and it's just shredded. Whoa. So you are able to go into this kiva, but I don't really feel comfortable going in there, even though it has been restored and a lot of this material here is not the original, you know, the ladder's not original. I've never felt comfortable going into these structures. So don't blow me up in the comments too much. I've known about this place for maybe 10 years and I've always wanted to go here. But there's something about it that's missing. I think it's just knowing that a lot of this has been restored. Just knowing how much traffic comes through here, foot traffic. Some of the power is lost from this place. It makes me think of, so the Dene believed that Rainbow Bridge on Lake Powell held magic, held power, and at some point there had been so many travelers through it that the traffic through there removed the power. And I guess that thought comes to mind when I come here. But I'm here, so that makes me a hypocrite. Oh, wow. So they must have used a ladder to get in through that doorway right there. Wow. Did they keep animals in there? What did they keep in there? Or was that to keep animals out? So that's about 17 to 18 feet up there. Unfortunately, I can't get up there. Alright, so what is the entry to that room? Must be over here. Oh yeah. So that what seems like a barred window is the entrance to this. So fascinating. I've seen other people visit this site. I've seen pictures of that window with what looks like bars. I always thought it was just the mud that fell away, but looking at it closely, it's a window with what looks like bars covering it, almost a cage to keep something from getting out, or you want to prevent large animals from getting in. What are they keeping in here? Alright, I think I'm wrong. Now getting close to it, it does look like the mud just fell away. You can see how it fell away from here. That's what I think, at least. What do you think? So people have said that this place is really eerie, and I didn't know exactly what they meant by that. And being here, I kind of feel it. I think seeing those what appear to be bars over a window, it does give that sense of holding someone captive, even though I think that was just mud that fell away. But those moons or shields above the structure with those two eyes in that one moon, it does give you the sense that you're being watched. And so I could see why this feels eerie. And then there's this second level up there that we can't get to, that we don't have access to. It makes me wonder what's up there. And this is an area where drones aren't allowed, so it's not like you could just fly a drone up there and poke around. So what I'm hiking down is a branch of the main canyon, and I'm going to camp near the confluence of this branch and the main canyon. And I have about 3 more miles, and I got about 2 hours of daylight, and there's one more habitation site, one more structure that I want to check out. This whole area, this mesa, these canyons, the oldest known tree ring date is from 1268. At some point, they moved out of here. And that's the great mystery. Why'd they move on? Was it the drought? Was it some other phenomenon? There's an argument of the push and the pull. They had to be pushed out by the drought, by something, by famine maybe, and then pulled somewhere else. Somewhere around the 1400s, kachinas start popping up. I don't want to dive too much in the kachina phenomenon. That's a whole nother story, but essentially kachinas are these spirits. They're mythical, they have different powers. And so there's an argument that that was the pull. And we know that they most likely went south to Arizona. They went west, southwest, into the northern Rio Grande. Zia, for instance, Zia Pueblo argues that they were much sooner. I don't know much about that at all. I don't feel competent to get into that, but that's one theory. Do you ever feel that when you're out, especially when you're solo and another set of eyes sees you? I'll be out of here in a sec. I don't know, there's something about that just makes me feel really good. I'm starting to get close to where I need to camp, so it's the confluence of this drainage, this canyon that I'm in. It hits the main branch of the canyon that I'm going to explore tomorrow. That's the main canyon right there, and that's the canyon I came out of just now. So I am going to head down the main canyon. Ideally, I'll find some water since it rained that I could set up camp close to. Let's see. You could camp maybe like up by that boulder up here. Set up my tent right here. It's not quite level, but it's level enough, I think. Not a bad spot. I'm gonna turn this camera off and eat and enjoy the last remnants of light. Around 3 in the morning, something, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know what animal could make it. Some friends would call it a witch. My Dene friend would call it a skinwalker, but right over here, somewhere in here, is the loudest hissing, but very deep. Something strange that I never heard before. By the time I got my camera out, I couldn't hear it anymore, but it was so loud that it woke up the canyon. I could start hearing ravens starting to caw and other birds waking up. It seemed like the whole canyon knew something was going on over here. There's a few things I'm afraid of down here. Is stumbling, getting hurt, running out of water, and mountain lions. And that could have been a mountain lion. The main pictograph panel that I want to see is actually back up canyon. So this is the confluence of the two canyons, and the one on the right is the one I came down, and so we'll be headed up this one on the left. There's no site marked for this spot, and look at how big this is. Let's see if we could get up to it. Ooh, see if I can find a way up there. Oh, didn't even see that. Whoa. Wow. This round structure is probably a kiva. Hard to say. I don't see the inner piers like pylons that support the roof beams, but they don't always have that. Whoa. Wow. Now you see this step here, that one right there, in pottery all through the Southwest. It's like red splattered paint first that they blew on the wall using their mouth, and then they probably let it dry, and then they did a white one over it. See, there's a wall built on top of this. So this whole thing here might have been a big structure. A place like this, it's just exposed just enough to the elements. It served the purpose for them, but it didn't stand the test of time like other sites did. This one's still here though. When I get to the confluence of another canyon and this main canyon, and that's where I want to set up camp. See this filter? It's brand new, but there's a big problem with it. No water will go through it. It's clogged. I've never used it before. All last year, I used one just like this, and it got pretty funky, so I decided to buy a new one. And I always test my filters before I go out, but since the last one was so reliable, I kind of just spaced. I don't know. Thankfully, since I'm a little bit paranoid, I brought a backup, and thankfully I did, because I don't have enough fuel to be down here boiling a lot of water. I'm in the area of where that pictograph, it's somewhere back in here. I don't know where exactly, but tomorrow morning I'm gonna try and find it. But right now I'm gonna set up my camp here and then get some food in me. Nothing like waking up to seeing some deer right outside your tent. Much better than hearing that screech I heard the other night, that hissing. This is the last of the water I hiked in with. You can see this green tinge to the water that I filtered. I think green water gives you superpower. At least I hope. Last night as I was falling asleep, I was thinking about what's up the canyon, that pictograph that we're gonna go see. So it should be two figures painted in white, either holding hands or hands really close to one another, and there should be red circles over their chests. The story lies underneath those pictographs. Whoa. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna find a place to drop my pack and then climb up there and get closer. Whoa. Wow. Little handprints, like children almost. And larger adult ones. What is that? Oh. Does that represent childbirth? You could see that little figure inside. Wow. Let's continue on here. Whoa. It's a very large structure. What a... Oh, wow. 4 large circles over a black panel. Wow. You could see that they did spirals inside the two on the right. I'm starting to notice some things that have to do with series of occupation. It doesn't seem like this was occupied over just one period. Let me show you. Let's start with this handprint. It looks like a child's handprint. And right to the right, you could see the remnants of where the wall existed. Did this wall cover up that more ancient handprint? Or had the wall come down and they put handprints above it? Oh. There they are. Wow. didn't know there would be a third figure over here, but these are the two that I came to see. Who were you? Wow. So, the rest of the story is what's down here, behind this rock. I'm gonna head down a little further. I'm gonna check the far end of this alcove. I could see a bunch more pictographs up here, so let's look at those. Wow. Here they are again in more detail. Clearly now you could see that it's a man and a woman. You could see their yellow painted bodies in this one. These are higher up in the alcove. They're less exposed to the elements and sun. Wow. I'm not even gonna begin to try and understand these. It seems like they're telling a story. What that story is, I have no clue. Now seeing this in better detail with the yellow paint on their body, a little bit more detail in the face and the head. Let's go back to that pair. So, behind this rock, I always feel some reverence when I'm at these sites. And this one especially, it almost demands it, because right here, behind this rock, underneath the ground, Richard Weatherhill in 1897 exhumed a large basket, 5.5 feet across. Underneath it was another smaller basket. Right next to it was a third basket. Underneath that third basket was the mummified head of a woman, her face painted red. Underneath the larger baskets was her body, intact, painted yellow. She was wrapped in a turkey feather blanket with bluebird feathers woven in, with spots of yellow canary feathers. So right above her are these two figures. Does that represent life partners? Was it the husband who buried her here in ceremony? Rarely do you ever see a pictograph or petroglyph coincide with the burial, and this is one of the rare few in all of the Southwest that coincide with one another, especially with this set and setting, this location, next to the confluence of two canyons at a spring, at an alcove, with so much history painted on the rock here. This was a special place, and to be able to bury someone here, it's hard to argue that they were just an average person, people they exalted or looked to lead them. Now, Richard Weatherhill called her the princess, and I don't know that that's the right term for her, but what else would you call her in the English language? The only appropriate thing to call her is by her name. And we have no way of knowing her name. And that's exactly the type of mystery that make these places so alluring, so special. I'm trying to think of a good way to end this, and I think there never really is. I don't ever want a trip to be over. I want to just stay out here day after day after day, always seeing what's around the next bend, seeing what other mystery might be ahead of me. So, without any final words, thanks for watching.